Today is January 10th, 2023, but it's only like midnight, okay? Maybe a little after. I was at January 9th, 2023. I'm out at my clients out on Turquoise Street. Oh, and Michelle's family, that agent that called me back, her dad's the FBI agent that bullied me under the false statement, bullied me under a threat of arrest, and then listed me in a form. It made me plead for my life, and then told me, and promised me the money and everything that goes with the witness protection program. That stole the money for herself. Yeah, that family. Mm-hmm. The one that told on me to pay Merce Church. Yeah. Well, they're out there acting like they're going to get money for my ex-daughter-in-law and her kids for their mean games of pretend. They're like the worst actors on earth. Worst actors on earth. Oh, I'll give them money. They say stuff to upset me because I know it's a lie. The society knows it's a lie, and the police know it's a lie because I was in protected custody. And they all know they lied. Everybody knows, okay? And it's that bad. Everybody knows. And so they just run around saying stuff, and then they're really bad actors. I was down at my daughter-in-law Dixie's today. I was talking to her. She's like, Melissa and her kids live in Maslin. They've lived in Maslin for years. So where I live in Louisville, they drive by and act like it's the kids in the car screaming stuff outside. They're using voice altering apps. You can download them. You talk and you can make it high like a little kid, or you can make it sound like a little girl or a guy or anything. We had those kind of devices when I was a teenager, except for ours was a tube, and you shorten it, lower it, make your voice go higher or lower. We played with stuff like that. But now they actually have an app where when I got even older, you could talk through like a box and it would alter it. But yeah, now it's just through your phone. So they can do it through the Bluetooth. It's Michelle's sick family, mentally ill family, driving by with voice altering apps, screaming stuff driving by. They already know it's the agent that picked up my case, his family doing this to me. See, I did a thing and I didn't have enough storage, and I actually did a better tape out at my clients and people scattered. This whole thing is pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. And what's more pathetic is these people aren't in jail for this. And that's where I talked to sheriffs out of the area. Are your local police slow? They should have arrested that agent and that judge. They can't do crimes like this. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life. They have to speak to everyone before they start. It's the Fourth Amendment over the house, the right to privacy. Because you also have a right not to incriminate yourself and remain quiet. You also have a right to an attorney. You have a right to a fair court trial, bound bond. You have a right not to be mistreated, and you have a freedom of speech. And then you know what? If you want to go further, you have a right to vote. Do you know you have a right, if you're a law-abiding citizen, to carry a gun? You also have freedom of press. You can actually read a book or look up the news on your phone or watch news on TV. Did you know that? I can keep going. You have lots of rights. You have a right to pray to whatever God you want to. It's the United States of America. We have the land of the free. The government can't be in your home, except police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life. They have to speak to everyone before they start, or it's abuse and misconduct. Failure to protect is abuse and misconduct. And it goes into the right of privacy, illegal search and seizure. They can, and where Officer Reinhardt in Louisville, and I told him they were talking about the tapes before, he started giggling like a little girl. He's like, don't worry about a little thing. Even the FBI couldn't be in your home. It's illegal for anybody to be in your home except for protected light cases. Portage County Sheriffs, they try to blame them. I went up and confronted them. They knew nothing because it's illegal to be in somebody's home. And they agreed it is the Fourth Amendment in the Maslin Police. See, where Dave was trying to have me killed at Lennox, and I was too stupid to figure this out. And we were married 33 years. And I loved him with all my heart. in every breath I took. Mad where these people have just done this to make money. I actually was in love with my husband. Um, he was the type of person, and I should have never tolerated, that he was extremely good to you, buy you big gifts, and then if you made him mad, he'd beat the hell out of you. And then be sorry for over a year and a half. He wasn't really sorry, he just didn't want me to call the police on him. And I put up with it because I cared for him so much. And my life became taking care of him, and then him and my kids, then him and my kids and my grandkids. And I loved my life. I loved my family. It was my existence of who I was. I was his wife, their mothers, and their grandmother. And I loved being me. It was who I was. See, where people have just done this to make money, that was my existence for 33 years. 33 years. Okay? And they don't realize how mentally sick they are. Here, we had money coming up missing, 5 to 6,000, then my car getting scratched. And then, it just led into where he was going to work early. He started cheating, and then he decided just to get rid of me instead of divorcing me so he wouldn't have to pay out money. Where I loved him. I was disposable, and I still have a hard time with it. He made love to me all the time. All the time. And he bought me jewelry. We'd go out to eat. He'd wrap his arms around me, and he'd kiss me on the neck and cheek and hold me in line. We go fishing. We go on romantic vacations. I adored it. Okay. All right. And then, like I said, there was the attempt to break in knowing where the security system was, getting caught with pot in the system, breaking to my grandson Daniel that he wouldn't have a grandma anymore. Scared him. The following memorandum linked back to that church. The attempted kidnapping, and then the attempted carjacking and him breaking, he left me. Thieving Dixie and laughing. Nobody has that many attempts in 4 months unless somebody, 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 months, unless someone's trying to kill him. It was by the grace of God. He's so mad. I'm not dead. We bought this beautiful new home. We're supposed to, I'm supposed to fix it up and get everything moved in, and it's our retirement home. I picked it out, even though I liked it a lot, but it had all that width, where I would have just bought something with a little yard. Forget that, and he can travel. But I picked it out in the thoughts of him. It had 5.5 acres of woods, so that he could go out on his own property, sit in a tree stand, because he likes to bow hunt, and get a deer there if he wanted. And if all he wanted to do was sit out there in the woods and look for deer and make noise or whatever he does, that's fine. And enjoy his property. We were 6 miles from a lake we could take our boat out on, and we were 10 from another. Okay? So that was our retirement home, what he had always wanted. And so that's why I picked it out. And that, I've worked months of fixing up Lennox, and that's where the money disappeared. And then all those things happened, and I couldn't wrap my mind around it that it was him. It's one thing if a man cheats, and it's another thing when they'll go to the point they'll kill their wife instead of just paying alimony. All right. And then on the third, we're up there, and on the second day, I almost got carjacked. And he's so mad that the third day when we went down and got our bed, now all my kids know, and he would sit on my phone, that when I went to pick up, he went to pick up a bed slot, um, he acted like he couldn't pick it up, and I went, "Oh, come on now, I could pick that up." He picks it up and whacks me in the face. My spewing blood, teeth are broke. Okay. I'm like, "Why? You'll learn not to smart off to me." And he runs, he jumps in the car, and he takes off. And that's where he met these killers. He met the agent that called me back. Where Michelle's mother, Memorial Day weekend 2019, at the food counter, Walmart 62, old white woman to an African American man. It's my daughter, her husband dates. He met her in a store in Ravenna. It's for my daughter they did all this for, and our family watching her doing this. Bragging it's just that. It's Michelle, okay? Well, on the sixth day, someone kicks in my door while we're out getting more stuff from the storage unit, okay? We come home and the door's kicked into the wall. And we're looking around. He's like, "Don't report it. Some other realtor probably passed out keys, didn't know we closed." We're already off the market for 6 days. It's illegal for them to pass out keys. It's illegal for them to even have keys. They have to leave it in a lockbox. Liability issues, okay? He didn't want me to call because what if the police would have came in and found their little button cameras and the smoke detectors for where they were starting to stalk me. He already got his explanation. He told all the kids knew somebody kicked in my door. Well, what happened right after that, I started getting big bruises. And giant ones. Orange, grapefruit, and lemon size. On my arms, my legs. And you can see them. And people are like, "What's going on? Are you just getting easily bruising, Mom?" Well, I moved all that stuff into the storage unit. And I moved it into my son Danny's house. Had little tiny impact bruises. Not giant ones. This big. Okay? Everywhere. And I'm so dizzy. Now, I could mow on the lawn at Lennox because Dave worked really hard all the time. My one son, Danny, lived almost a mile away. And I would walk over to his house, get the kids, walk around their half a mile allotment, and then walk back. I'd walk 2 or 3 miles once a week, if not more. I was always out walking, okay? That's what I did. I could run on a treadmill too. All right? So me moving up there never happened before. I'm out, I go to mow 1 strip, 2 strips on the new lawn, and I almost pass out. I have to go in and get something cold to drink. I'm sitting there and sweat's pouring off of me. And it's like, what's wrong with me? So I go out and I try to mow some more. Happens again. It's like, what's wrong with me? The house before mine, a guy comes over from 4490 John Thomas. He said, "I see you struggling with the yard. Can I go ahead and mow it for you?" I was like, "Well, I don't have money to pay you. Neighbors don't pay each other." He said, "I'm actually a nurse. I work so-and-so." He said, "I'll just get my riding lawnmower and ride it off." He said, "I have a grown son. If you see him out there, don't think anything of it, da 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 da." And I said, "But I wouldn't feel right not paying you." He said, "Neighbors don't pay each other. I have no problem. You're struggling." Everybody knew that happened. Okay? And then they're seeing me getting dizzier. I'm throwing up. Okay? And they thought I was working too hard. Why work that hard at Lennox? Who do you think moved Lennox into the storage unit? Dave did some part, but it was me and Danny. Me, Danny, and Gabe. Me and the twins. Or me. Because Dave worked all the time. Because, see, they kept changing dates on closing on the Ravenna house and Lennox. Where I kept thinking, well, if I run a big pod, well, that's going to cost like $1,000. time I have to keep it for like a month. And then I'm like, well, if I run a truck about the same thing, and I don't even know what day to order it because they keep changing dates. And I looked around and there was a storage unit in Green that only cost me $150. So I took the storage unit and then I put the rest of the stuff at Danny's. Hmm? That's where I just started unloading the house. I figured, you know what? I can always rent a hotel. I can stay the night at one of my kids' house. Or what I have to do, and then I eventually can get out of that storage unit and out of Dan's. See what I mean? But in that way, if there's even days in between closing, I'm not going to worry about having to haul this crap around. Okay? Or pay a lot of money. So if I could do that, and then they wanted extra repairs done on the house, and Josh should do it, and then I'd have to clean up, and I'm doing all this work, working all the time. Okay? Fine at Lennox. I get up there. I would go out and work in the back area because there was broken bottles and cans and stuff like that. I'd come in, wash my hands, make something to eat and drink, go in and use the bathroom, come out and take a drink. All of a sudden I get dizzy. I'd lay down and roll towards the couch. Hours would pass. They were date rape drugging me. Lying, they had sodium benzoyl reports. And that they were already doing it within the first 10 days. They were already stalking me, photoshopping shower scenes. Michelle is a young blonde girl. She goes to Faith Family Church. She showed up after I called the FBI and said, my dad's FBI, he works the case, I date Dave. She admitted to watching me on the toilet. You can't even watch somebody on the toilet in a protected custody case. That is illegal. Illegal. You have a right to privacy and dignity, and they're not paid perverts. Because I always rock the business casual or business look because I worked in banks and loan company. So when I go to church, a lot of times when I'm not working, if I'm not working and taking a client, I dress nice. I have my heels, I'll have hose on, I'll have a nice dress and a cardigan, okay? And while I'm getting ready to go to church, I'm OCD off the chart, okay? Well, I used the bathroom and my sleeve fell down and I went to push it up and I thought, crap, I didn't even wash my hands. So I flushed the toilet and most people just wash their hands and their arm and go on about it. Well, I took the sweater off. I washed my hands and arms. I go to church. She comes in the back. She's like, don't sit by her. She has a peace sweater on. She admitted to having me raped. She could have anybody raped. She thinks she's some kind of mafia goddess. She thinks she's some kind of badass little bitch that needs to spend the rest of her life in prison. This is their family running a big scam down here. A big scam. They're the ones that took the 25 grand hit they were talking about. Okay? So they are playing with me all summer long. Let me get that house done. And as soon as I get that house done, start scaring me to have where I go to get that job, and then they cost me the job, have somebody show up at a different store and act like they're me, so I wouldn't be able to take care of myself. They have where I didn't hang up and I find out Vegas involved and taking up the 25 grand. Then they have the guy that had tried to kidnap me, tried to carjack me, to show up at Giant Eagle and threatened to knife me. And then that Pizza Hut lady got paid to watch me and the banker screaming at her and they walk off together. And then Dave hold me down, how I'm going to die for his girlfriend, tries to claim it's a vivid dream. It was no vivid dream, 30 minutes in the cold dark night holding me down. And then the guy wanted to shame me at Walmart. And yeah, and then telling me that his girlfriend's family owns the police, so I'll call the FBI on him. So that it's like reverse psychology. Okay? Their agent's waiting. This is where it's going to become payday. She'll call the hotline. I'll grab it out of he's not even over my area. I lived in Portage County. I called the 1-800-FBI hotline. Do you know what happened? We'll have an agent call you back because I have 2 Perry police reports of one following him around, linked back to their church, and I have, Dave stating they knew the security system to a Perry officer and he's the main subject. Oh, and I have Katie out in the mall saying that her church was going to kill me to at least 3 people. They'll call me back. Have an agent call me back. Then I can't get out of bed. Because they're drugging me up so bad because they got to come up with an idea what to do. They've been waiting for this. So I get up and I'm dizzy on the 3rd day and I can't even, I'm like, what's wrong with me? I didn't know they were date rape drugging me. Couldn't figure out why I was sick. And so, yeah, I call Sarah and of course I'll witness for you. I'm scared for you. So I go out and where Katie had told her her church was going to have me killed. So I put that agent's number there where he left it and called him back. Took it out to Zales. The manager put it in a locker. We go up to Apostolic Church of Barberton. That agent is up there telling on me. Verified by a Stark County sheriff. And Paul Paymer and his frantic, my God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. And he points at the Stark County sheriff. Okay? Stark County sheriff. And it's frantic. And I walk off, Dave comes in, let's go. And we go out in the truck. He threatens my life and swings at me. Now, Dave's dating that man's daughter. Dave already knows. Why did he go to Paymer? Try to embezzle more money? Try to get a list of people like they were talking about? That he could help get rid of them too? Because Dave already knows. Dave's dating Michelle that I didn't know about. He's making love to me all the time before they get attacked again. Sick, isn't he? This whole thing is sick. Those are just drug dealers driving by. Michelle's family. Big scammers. Okay? So I called that agent back. I tried to tell him what happened at Huntington Bank, where Dave called me on the 21st of 18. Where are you at? I said, I'm buying some for dinner. I got a phone call to make. Don't go. I'm scared out of my mind. I realize I have to move out and I have nowhere to go. I see they're giving flu shots and I thought I can't afford to get sick. Go ahead and get the shot. Walk along the long pharmacy. Got dizzy. Sat down on the bench. I'm like, just breathe. I hear the voice. I can't believe she's here. And it's the same voice as I got her, the guy that tried to kidnap me. I stand up and I turn my car like, oh my God, where is he? Comes up behind me. I'd stab you right here now if it wasn't for that security guard. And the ladies with him's like, are you just going to go ahead and stab her? He said, I won't make it out for the security guard. While they're trying to argue out if they should stab me or not, I got away from them. Go over to I turn my car into the bank. I want to open an account. I look over and it's a Pizza Hut lady that was talking to him, walks out around me, comes up and says, the waitress and, from there, older blonde lady, I get paid to watch her. The banker's like, stay out of this, lady. She's like, no, I get paid to watch her. And he's like, lady, I mean it won't be worth it then. Well, I look over and the guy that tried to kidnap me, tried to carjack me, just walks out around me. And she walks off too, and Dave instantly calls me and I put him on hold. And they get my account open. I didn't know if they had somebody with a gun to my head. I didn't know if they had somebody else watching me ready to stab me. I was afraid to even breathe. They get that account open. Because I didn't know if they already did that, they could have already had somebody else ready to shoot me. So I just stand there froze. Okay? I look up and there's a group of people leaving. I get in the group of people. I get in my vehicle. And now you don't process right after you've been date rape drugged. I should have drove right to the police station. Okay? And I didn't. I just froze. Okay? So I drive down to Walmart 62. An African-American lady spit my face in her and a white boyfriend harassed me. this other guy with black hair, black eyes, and an eagle tattoo. He's 40 to 50. Now the other guy's same look, the black hair, the dark eyes, 6'2". Also, I mean 6 foot also, but he's 30 to 40. Okay. The older one comes up to me with the eagle tattoo. What a shame! And I got away from that freak. He kept staring at me like a dead animal. Got home, Dave's at the end of the driveway. My girlfriend's rich and powerful. Her family owns the police. You won't be able to withstand. I told him it's not a communist country. Nobody owns the place, okay? So I thought, God, he's got connection. That girl cost me my job. So by the September 23rd, 18, I called the FBI hotline. I tried to tell that agent what happened. You liar, you confess your lie. Now I'm crying rivers of tears. Rivers of tears. Rivers of tears. I'm like, what? He said, you either confess your lie and I'll arrest you. I'm like, what? He said, I said, either say you're lying or I'll put you in jail. And I'm like, fine, whatever. And he said, I said, say it. And I'm blubbering. And I'm like, what? He said, I said, say it or I'll put you in jail. I should have hung up with him and called his supervisor. They would have arrested him right on the spot. Badger in-laws, Department of Justice, 1729. Okay? He can't talk to me like that. So I said what he told me to say because I was still all drugged up. Okay? Normal me would have hung up on him. And then he's like, do you know if he has a girlfriend? Oh no, he starts rambling stuff. He's like, you tell me why the FBI should even have someone like you. Well, let's see. You get paid by the taxpayers to protect people. That's why. You're actually paid by the taxpayers to do your job. But I'm like, what? And he makes me gravel for my life. Please, they'll kill me so. But they'll kill me so. Give me a good reason why we should help you. So I tell him about my brother-in-law, Craig. He's like, fine, I'll help you. No, the whole thing of it is he's trying to bully me into staying quiet. Why is he doing that? Because he's going to steal the money that he's getting ready to do this. I'll list you an informant. Nothing legally stated dated against you again, and only for you would we ever do this, for we'll always put it back to the traffic ticket even when it's over. No man will ever touch you. I get diplomatic immunity comes with the witness protection program. I got $5,000 a month. You'll have money to move out when this is over. I'll pull you out if it gets too bad. Da 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 da. And for working this case, it is only for working the case. It's for you get diplomatic immunity. You get the money for just testifying against somebody in a case the government's willing to look into. And it's called the Witness Protection Program. 95% of the people in the Witness Protection Program are criminals, and only 5% are victims. And what's funny is 10 to 20% keep doing crimes, and they can't do anything about it because they're in the diplomatic immunity. So they can't pull a fast one like this one. And I'm in it for life. And it's for life, sorry. And I had the police surveillance at home. I still have that, and different officers will mention it. Otherwise, it'd be entrapment for them to watch me, and they'd lose their badge. Because if they had my statement, like Officer Reinhardt said, even the FBI couldn't be in your home outside to protect a lie case, and they have to have your statements, and that's why that officer had to go to Dave. See, he opened that thing that protects a lie case, and it was for him to steal that money. He stole it on day one. I never got a dime. And then he tries to bully me again. If you tell someone, I'll list you crazy and no one can help you. So I'm too scared to say anything. No judge signed that. You do realize that, right? Because he would look right at him and say, you're bullying this woman. It's badgering, and you lost your badger in jail. You can't put a gag order on somebody. The only one who can put a gag order on somebody is me. And you can't tell somebody you won't protect them because failure to protect is abuse and misconduct. He would have ordered him arrested. The only thing that he could actually enter in the court system is a protected custody case with the witness protection program, with the diplomatic immunity, with the money. That it goes straight forward what it is. That's where officers talk about Karen around the house or Karen's well. Okay? He actually opened it. That's why all these different police departments know about it. And so a lot of the people that showed up, even though agents make like 150,000, that agent, I realized that that bill from the Freemasons and that Alec, do you know Alec or Alex was driving like an old silver car? It was an old car, about 5, 7 years old. Do you know what he was driving within a few months? An $80,000 truck. Him and his friends that were driving old vehicles. And they were driving Hummees. Is that what they're called? Hemis? Or I don't know. Some kind of big, I'd have to look it up. Some kind of big off the road, look like a Jeep vehicle. Okay? Um, yeah, and it's very expensive. And they were driving all kinds of race cars and everything after that. They went from driving extremely old vehicles to very expensive. Within the next month after the case, some of the guys that are walking around the protected light case, Will came up with an idea to make more money out of this case. He's going to sell the login for $25 a pop. That agent is a serial killer. He has embezzled over $300,000 from my account. Over $300,000. He is running this big scam down here. And other officers out of this area want to know if the local police are slow, why they haven't arrested him. Like they said, none of this is funny. They realize they hired a bunch of drug dealers to do this to me. Well, what makes it an oh my God case is that agent from out of the area, they know it's him doing this to me. They know it's just him. The one that picked up my case is the one that's been doing all this to me. Retired Judge Pete is involved. He looks like a little white Santa Claus, but I think he's Grandpa. And that's where that Alec or Alex, I think, is Michelle's brother or cousin, and so is Bill from the Freemason and the agent. See, I lived in Portage County. It should have went to Akron when I called the hotline. Not a Stark County FBI task force agent in the Canton courthouse. I didn't live in that area. He wasn't over my area. He wrapped it off the hotline because he was getting ready to embezzle from the Witness Protection Program. Every month that I'm alive, he's getting my $5,000 a month. He is getting my housing. He is getting my living expenses and my medical card. He has embezzled way over $300,000 just from my case alone. And for the sale of the login is $25 a pop. These people lied on my son Danny and his wife that they had an attorney and they were going after me for the shower scene that they put in the other room, and they knew nothing. None of my children knew anything. Like I said, the one daughter-in-law that had just left my son went through a divorce, got friends with a new girlfriend, Michelle. And in the protected light case where I got everybody following everyone around, they got caught stating they made everything up. Okay, that they wanted the house for Auntie Shell and Papa, and they were making everything up. Like the Massillon Police put as documented in Games of Pretend. October 5th, 21, Huntington Bank, they were talking about, I don't want Melissa getting no money out of this. That's okay. They knew they made everything up. They didn't want anybody to help her. November 7th or 8th, 21, Walmart 62 by the medical aisle. They screamed it out. They found all the kids lying in 2018. They did. They confronted her in 18. That they found all the kids lying. Okay, and that as Massillon Police put it, they're documenting Games of Pretend. May of 21, the sheriffs were laughing if this weird Kurt just found out those kids were lying. If Kurt just found out those kids are lying, he is low. Because they got caught stating, like Sheriff John said, January 12th, 22, at Walgreens, North Main, 4:58 p.m., and he stopped goons at the door. What those kids get caught stating? They made everything up. They're documenting Games of Pretend. Melissa, my ex-daughter-in-law, doesn't even live in Louisville. She lives 15 miles away. She lives with her new husband, and her kids live there in Massillon. Okay? They don't even live in Louisville. They have had people drive around acting like they're them, with voice-altering apps, acting like they're little kids yelling stuff. And it's just Michelle and her sick friends. How mentally ill are they? See, the police had already told her to knock it off in 18. and 19. Some guy with a deep voice told them off at John's church. They already knew all the kids were lying. See, they caught him lying in 18 in the basement. For the house wasn't meant for Grandma, it was meant for Auntie Michelle, and Papa and Grandma needs to get out. And then later on to my granddaughter, Flora. For we're making everything up. That's where Flora, the year later, where they already told me they found all the kids lying. She starts laughing about it. I didn't know the really mean game or pretend till she said it. It was considered fucking shit my family should be ashamed of, mean jokes. And Flora started laughing. Of course it never happened. Of course it wasn't true. We made it up. It's games of pretend. They're just extremely mean jokes. See, she's been out of it for years. Somebody out of my clients on Turquoise Street, some lady investigators last summer, we asked Melissa why she even had the kids make up anything. And she said, oh, we just wanted to try to help them get the house. See, that's what they said in 18 and 19. All the police know they lied. And because that agent sold the login to the Protected Custody case and let these people hurt me and let people watch it and sell it online because he's mentally ill, everybody knows they lied. My one client with anger issues, he's like, who's that crazy Melissa? They're all talking about lying. I said, oh, the ex-daughter-in-law with an ex-husband's new girlfriend made up a bunch of lies and the police caught him lying years ago. He's like, she's nuts. I know that. So this is how nuts that family is. They drive by, act like they're going to get people money, and they're not going to get them in time. Like they said, they're running around making up excuses, trying to convince her they're going to get that money, and she won't fall for it. So they keep making up more excuses. My church was following me around because they told everybody I had charges. I've never been questioned of wrongdoing. I've never been prosecuted. I've never been found guilty. They made it all up. That's where November 1822, between 2 and 6 p.m., where the police said they were looking for an Eric and Steve for stalking. Okay? And nothing they had is admissible. Okay? Because they're stalking tapes. They're in it with him. He shows up high as a kite or as drunk as it can be. I'm getting my hair done in the hair salon. November 1822, walks in. There's a big camera above him with tape and audio and one in the hair salon. Okay? All the tapes before were me and not her. Ha 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 ha. It was my idea to come up with it, my idea to say it, my idea to do it for all these people to fall for it and turn on her. And they actually went along with it. It was only me and not her. Ha! Jackass. The guy's like, well, if it's just you, I can even fix it. He said, I know it's that bad. And they all went along with it. November 24th, 22, Mercy Medical. Nurse there, and the Canton lady officers out walking around. Okay, maybe her another lady officer. Okay? She said, the nurse leaves the room. Nobody will ever say a word to her. We all heard that Eric make fun of us for falling for this. Okay? And the lady replies, well, the agent that bullied her into saying she was lying when she wasn't. I found out those men ran experiments on her, and I told her she better not have permanent damage. It's so bad, nobody's even ever said anything barely bad about her. No, my whole family spoke highly of me in 18. They announced it in front of my client last year in December. Her family really did speak highly of her before. Then June 23rd to July 4th of 21 by the panel. More investigators. What are these people talking about? She's never heard anybody. We interviewed her whole family a long time ago. See what I mean? My family knew nothing. It's Michelle's mentally ill family just run around telling. My one friend said it's a tactic. They tell enough lies on somebody. Everybody believes it. They fall for it like it's true. And the only thing it is a mean rumor. They're just lies. It's a hurricane of lies. That's it. To destroy somebody. It's an evil tactic that Satan uses. I'll tell you what. I found out somebody had been saying stuff to my daughter-in-law, Dixie. Well, I'd already put it up there. They said January 1st, 2023 at Trinity Temple. They told the security guard there that the agent's telling everybody that he knew she was faking she was sick and faking she got well while that family was grieving. So he stole all our money. He's admitting that he stole my money. Okay? And to teach me a lesson, he left me up there and let them hurt me and do whatever they wanted to me. Failure to protect is abuse and misconduct, and theft is theft. But they're that arrogant and that stupid, okay? Well, I wasn't faking I was sick, and I wasn't faking I got well. I went into remission, and what I had when it goes into spontaneous remission all the time. And it had nothing to do with that family grieving, and it was months later. That was just a lie that a cult leader made up to turn people on me. And then an agent using occult people and their lies to feed the drama. Okay? Because he's the one that told. Now, that's not the only place that they've admitted that it's just him. December 2nd, 22 at Wendy's Alliance is just that one man from the case stealing every dime for himself. They yelled at November 11th, 22 on 3rd Street, Maslin, is that idiot stealing everything she had in life for his own family. It's the only thing going on and exactly what is going on. They were talking about it in Pennsylvania when I took a day hab out there, that they realized that it's just them stealing from the case and how bad they feel about it. They yelled it out December 26th in Louisville, that it really is just them stealing from the case, that my family knew nothing. See, the police already came up April 14th, 22 and told my family no, nothing. It's just the people hurting me. It's Michelle's family. The agent out of the area, he's the one that took the hit money. He's the one that was date rape, drugging me, photoshopping me with his evil friends and his drug dealing friends. He's the one that had Dave scare me into calling the FBI. He's the one that went and told on me. He's the one that picked it up so that he could open that case and then direct the money into his own account. And then to make more money, he sold the police information to a protected custody case. But that he had to open that case. And that's where all the investigators followed me around. They followed my family around. They caught Melissa telling the kids to lie, her friends with Michelle, and that and then they already had the house bugged for the case on Thanksgiving of 18, and they got custody, and they were lying because they wanted Auntie Shell and Papa to get the house, and they were making everything up. They were games of pretend sick shit. And Melissa's already moved on. She doesn't even live in Louisville. She hasn't lived in Louisville for years. She lives in Maslin, and so does her kids. They've all moved on. This is just a big scam from that agent out of the area with his drug dealing friends, stealing from the feds and selling terrorism. And how foolish and stupid are these people falling for it? She hadn't, where they have acted like they go over and see her. Oh, they're going to take up money at this school. She don't even go to the school. The kids don't go to the school. They haven't went here for years. They live in Maslin. Maslin knows they lied. They call them documented and games of pretend. See what I mean? It's just a big scam. They're just running around saying anything for people to fall for it. I was in Walmart on Saturday, and a lady said, I thought we were supposed to follow around. She has charges. What do you mean they made everything up? Somebody needs to do something about this. People from my church showed up. We're no longer going to follow you around. We already told them. We already knew all the tapes before were them and not you. And we're not going to follow you around. And nobody's going to say anything to you anymore. They need to cut it out. See, like they even yelled it out at Trinity Gospel Temple. It is just them stealing from the case. They've said it everywhere. And these people realize it's just an agent out of his area embezzling funds from the federal government in it with a bunch of drug dealers. It's an oh my God case. And look at all the crimes he's committed. And this is just a big scam. He's running. Somebody already said that. They already realized it's the agent that picked up my case doing all this to me. It's just him. It's a big fraud scheme that he could actually kick in somebody's door. He could Photoshop things and date rape drug. And he'd get away with it. And then having his daughter date my husband. Because Dave offered him the 25 grand to kill me. He's in it with drugs. And drug dealers. Okay, he's got a drug problem. And then scare me into calling the FBI. And then him picking up that case off the hotline out of his area. And then him bullying me, him telling on me. And everybody knows he did it. And that he stole every dime since day one, as they put it. for himself. That's how they put it. He stole it for himself. That's how not funny this is. I'll tell you what. I put on my Facebook, I blew up. No one date rape drugs anybody but serial killers and occults. Nobody stalks them in their home but serial killers and occults. And my ex and Michelle, when I didn't even know about her, and I really blasted him on Facebook. I usually don't use Facebook except for pictures and inspirational thoughts. But you know what? When they want to sit there and say that agent stole her money because he knew she was faking she was sick and faking she got well, I'll tell you what. I gave the testimony of being sick, what I lived through in a short version of it, and then how I worked with a doctor, how I had to get out and try walking, and when I'm all swelled up and all this other stuff, work with them for months, and then it went into spontaneous remission. And in the middle of me getting better, in the middle of a 7 or 8 month span, right? Now I'm already getting better. Some guy's kid gets killed in a traffic accident that I have nothing to do with or my family. His father-in-law ran a stop sign and semi hit him. It's his father-in-law's fault. Nothing to do with nothing. I was well enough to go to the funeral. I was well enough to toddle around. I was well enough to do this, well enough to do that. Huh? And then 2 months later, it finally goes into the spontaneous remission that people naturally do, except for I had to exercise and rebuild up my muscles for mine to go away. And I had to work at mine for months. Nothing to do with nothing, but strange, being an occult leader. Lied to everybody. She's faking. She was sick and faking she got well while he screamed. Oh, 15 months later. It's one thing when an occult leader tells brainwashed people to believe it. And it's another thing when an educated agent can use Google, find out that it happens naturally, on its own. And you know what's really sick? Is that Vega, his daughter, has been an RN nurse since 2015-16. She had to study autoimmune disorders. She knew too, and so did they. This is just a big scam and lies to feed into their cult and drama. And so where people are running around, oh, they're going to get so and so, they're not going to get nobody money. They're putting it straight in their pocket. Like they said, they're making up excuses for her not to get that money, and she's not falling for it. I'm not stupid. I've never been prosecuted, I've never been questioned, and I've never been found guilty of anything. It's a big scam. A big, huge scam he's running with his drug dealing friends. And these people realize how big of fools they are. Like I said, even my ex-daughter-in-law, they had confronted her several times. She don't even live here. She hasn't lived here for like 3 years. Her kids don't go to the school. They don't have anything to do with this community. Where they've been running around with their voice acting, altering apps, acting like it's them. And they're living in Maslin. Michelle's family is that mentally ill. They're that sick. They're that sick. They lied on my family and act like they were helping. And they weren't. They made up lies on everybody. They're mentally ill. That agent out of the area to embezzle funds, he'll do anything. He's really ill. And he's very, very dangerous.